Wonderful day, wonderful day, wonderful day. This is your neighborhood sensei Fouché, telling all y'all to stay woke, but relax. Relax. Please relax and make sure you take notes. Me, myself, I take plenty of them. Extremely important to keep order away from a constant practice and disconnection utilizing disorder. First, before I move forward into my monologue, let me welcome all of you beautiful people. You very conscious, aware, and humble people. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever degree of consciousness or light is radiating, there is some form that can be added aside the strongly flamed wood. And the metaphor is, someone like myself, or even someone in equal or higher light than I, depending on, what comforts you most. So again, if you have a reflection of light and you embrace informative scriptures or conversation that explains to stay enlightened and utilize and strengthen your radiation. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we about here. And we welcome you. You know what I'm saying? And we welcome all of those who aren't ready either. You know what I'm saying? If you just want to kind of try to soak up some information and, fight yourself in argument or fight with someone else and use me as a reference to make or try to validate your point to someone who is in line with my conversation, and your communication is a struggle, please, engage in the listening aspect, and the more and more you try to resist what's true, eventually that frustration is going to be a reflection of what has constantly been explained in before mentions what is true. And you've been long resistant towards. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I welcome you too. You know what I'm saying? I want you to soak it all up. Listen to whatever you have to listen to. Research or counter research. What I have researched. Like, I'm not trying to tell anybody at all to believe in what I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Or believe in what Dr. Tolle is sharing with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you live in your life. You understand what you're going through. You know what I'm saying? Whether you choose to verbally be honest or verbally be dishonest, but internally you really know what the truth is, whether you want to verbalize it or not, or psychologically identify with it or not. But somewhere deep inside of you, what is knows exactly what is. And when that question is scratched to that deepest of subconscious being, it will understand and know how to explain why. Like, it's been in such a deep observation, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has you completely figured out, you know what I'm saying? And until you want to embrace reality, and reality is just truth, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, you know, let's look up reality, you know, because when we use these words, I don't want you to be confused, and neither do I in my explanation to what we talking about. So reality is a noun because it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you manifest. You know what I'm saying? Even whether it's real, you know, in a physical existence or imaginary. So, the world or the state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. You know, I just pretty much explained that. You know, a thing that is actually experienced or seen, especially when this is grim or problematic. This is Oxford language. You know what I'm saying? Merriam-Webster, if you want to go into that. You know what I'm saying? But you got a phone, you have a computer. Like, type it in. Look it up. You think I'm making this up? You think that I'm telling untruth? Like, look it up. I want you to disprove me. You know what I'm saying? So that way I could fuel myself towards more education, because I may not understand or am slightly misinformed in the direction that I know I need to be going towards. Maybe I tripped on a step in that direction and I need to fall back and reanalyze that position and be able to be comfortable in my step within that position and then proceed forward. You know what I'm saying? So please help me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm on my study all the time. Trust me, I don't take a break. But if there's something that I need to add on that I was misrepresenting of in my explanations, like, you know, drop me a note, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take it as constructive criticism, because I be hungry, you know what I'm saying? So then I'm going to be like, all right, let me look all this up, get into my deepest of references, and then, you know, when I move forward, I'm going to correct myself and then, you know, educate on top of my correction. So, welcome. This is Stay Woke with your neighborhood Sensei Fouché. And we have been breaking down the novel by Eckhart Tolle. And for anyone that hasn't followed, I'm going to spell his name always. Capital E-C-K-H-A-R-T. Last name is pronounced Tolle. It looks like Toll or Tolle, but it's Tolle, you know. So, T with the capital, O-L-L-E. And I was just being specific because upon introducing him in the original conversation that we recorded, I wanted to be specific into the pronunciation of his name. So I'm not trying to overcorrect anybody. I'm mostly being specific. If you want to call him Toll, call him Toll. If you want to call him Tolle, call him Tolle. I mean, back in Atlanta, my longtime nickname was Tolle. You know what I'm saying? Which was short for Naphtali. Naphtali was one of the sons, you know what I'm saying, of Abraham, of the 12 tribes of Israel. You know what I'm saying? And Naphtali in my, what would they call it? Because you would go into the counter rotation or the counter cycle of the order in the astrology, you know, and this is a little bit deeper, but to keep it real simple, Naphtali is in correlation with the sign of Pisces. But that's less of what we talking about right here. You know what I'm saying? We really just focusing on the power of now. It's just information, just for whatever you want to, you know, take it. But, you know, for a long time, I went through different levels of identification into where we're at now of Sensei Fouché. And that's just a respectful honor that someone gave me that I added on to in regards to being identified as Sensei Fouché. At one time, it was Naphtali Sair Tehuri del Kasayer, which means Pisces knowing wisdom of the Sabbath. You know, and I came up with that name probably about 20 years ago. You know, so that's how deep, you know, I've been kind of progressing into my evolution of where we at now. And where we at now is, again, the power of now. And we were covering chapter 6. And we should be in our third conversation in regards to this chapter right now. And when we talk about the inner body, we're talking about our true moral self, our deep subconscious self, that God, the God in us, because the evil has been running the autopilot for however long you know you have been the way that you are in your current state of confusion. You know what I'm saying? And lack of love. And we were talking about in prior, you know, conversation, you know, how committed, you know, you have to be into the beginning process and the reinstalling of reprogramming into your autopilot movements, you know what I'm saying, and autopilot thinking. You know what I'm saying? There has to be first an identification in order to get to the beginning successions in instilling a consistent application into the direction of being in regards to the explanation and wording of what enlightened represents. You know what I'm saying? Like, this connection and this deepness within this connection has to be so committed. It has to be so serious. It has to be so regularly addressed in order for it to fall into line. I mean, you could think of it like going into the armed services and going through boot camp or boot camp training. You know what I'm saying? There is a serious reapplication into a discipline that has to be seriously instilled in order for you to be able to autopilot into a correct program format moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So all that being said, we're going to start doing some reading because you know how much time this could cover. And we got a lot of ad-libs in between. So the subtitle within the chapter title that we're covering at this moment, and we were leading into this, into our monologue conversation, your link with the unmanifested. And if I wasn't clear in my first pronunciation of that statement of title reference, your link with the unmanifested. That's where we're at right now. Presence is pure consciousness. And I know we've covered what presence is, because that's that deep God being inside of you that we're trying to resurrect. Right? Consciousness that has been reclaimed from the mind, reclaimed from that conscious con, that joker, from the world form, from that superficial thought processing. You know what I'm saying? That outer or exterior validation. The inner body is your link with the unmanifested. And in its consciousness emanates as light emanates. And emanate means to grow. And let's finish the sentence, and then we're going to look up emanate. The source from which consciousness emanates as the light emanates from the sun. So that's the full, complete back thought into the full sentence of the inner body is your link with the unmanifested, and in its deepest aspect is the unmanifested, the source from which consciousness emanates, as light emanates from the sun. Awareness of the inner body is consciousness, remembering its origin. My fault. We could have used original, but remembering its origin and returning to the source. So let's go into emanate. Emanate. Verb. It's an action word. To emanate is to issue or spread out from a source. To evolve. You know what I'm saying? That's what evolution is to move forward. You know, second definition says originate from, be produced by. So it continues to grow or move forward from an original foundation or state of processing. The other definition I'm looking at, a little shaded, and that's only because I'm not clicking to, open up the more of the specific definitions, is to give out or emit, not omit. Omit is to take something away. To emit is to add on. So, in reading forward, feeling will get you closer to the truth of who you are than thinking. You know what I'm saying? The more you keep thinking, then that's that joker, that conscious con, trying to convince you that your deeper inner feelings you need to ignore. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're getting... in my explanation, my personal explanation, is that overthinking is trying to convince you that that's too weak. That identification is too weak and too specific in order for you to connect to. For you to connect to that means that a lot of the things that you have as current habit or standard of living, you are complacent into continuing for that to be. And when you do that, you allow the level of disappointment to still exist, because in that unreality there creates these expectations of non-existence. So again, feeling will get you closer to the truth of who you are than thinking, because that feeling is going to emanate and resonate so much more the more you identify with it and tell you and force you into correcting the glitch and everything that's wrong. But again, the conscious con, that clown part of you, that evil in you, wants to tell you, you don't really have to go that far. Maybe only give a little, you know what I'm saying? And that's that evil voice on the other shoulder as opposed to the angel. You have an angel on your shoulder and the evil on the other shoulder. But more times than not, you be more focused on the evil person or the evil aspect of you whispering in your other ear, as opposed to the angel aspect of you whispering in your specific primary ear. When you have reached a state of certain interconnectedness, you recognize the truth when you hear it. Awareness of, all right, let me go back. Slowing down the aging process. And I was talking about this with my man Packboy. I was like, yo, I discovered the fountain of youth. And he thought I was nuts. And I was like, yo, when I read this section, my whole perception and ideology of that metaphor is completely different. And this is what I talk about with moments, right? Because the more moments you create, the more energy you emanate. And the more energy you emanate, the more life you actually radiate. You know what I'm saying? And the more light you radiate, that is most energy constantly being in utilization. You know what I'm saying? So you no longer lose time by being dumbed out of depressed about the past and hoping for some, mystic future to save you from whatever past conditioning that you have a hard time moving forward from in the now. So again, when I go to explaining what I would call, this fountain of youth, the more moments that you create in your life, you know what I'm saying, the longer existences you are aware of, and the more moments you are able to compound into a greater degree in how we would number life. You know what I'm saying? And the way I'm trying to explain it is by creating many of memories, instead of they're just, annual memories, to where you only recognize these annual moments to be extreme joy. You know what I'm saying? And that's like a slow death, because you're so bogged into more miserable moments that you're aging yourself by creating a before and an after as opposed to many of the manyest of nows. And that's, let me start reading and then tell me if I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest if you were to try to correct me in my analogy. But check this out. Slowing down the aging process. And then following that is going to be strengthening the immune system. So I'm going to continue and flow forward. So bear with me. Awareness of the inner body has other benefits in the physical realm. One of them is a significant slowing down of the aging of the physical body. Now continue to follow me. Whereas the outer body normally appears to grow old and wither fairly quickly, which is just part of the expected human process in general. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue to move forward. The inner body does not change with time, except that you may feel it more deeply and become it more fully. So let's read that again. Awareness of the inner body has other benefits in the physical realm. One of them is a significant slowing down of the aging of the physical body. Whereas the outer body normally appears to grow old and wither fairly quickly, the inner body does not change with time, except that you may feel it more deeply and become it more fully. When you are enlightened and that radiant feeling does not age. It just be. You know what I'm saying? Regardless from whatever beginning point to whatever physical end point, into where you become one with dust and the earth, so be it, or in the air of atmosphere, however you choose to be committed to the earth, you know what I'm saying, whether in cremation or whether in burial. You know what I'm saying? Like, your energy is forever from the moment it starts to the moment, you know, it no longer exists within a physical body construct. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the eternal youth, is the consistent joy, the always ever so present joy in its most moments. So let's move forward. Your inner body will feel just the same when you are 80. It will be just as vibrantly alive. Haven't you ever met old people that have such a youthfulness in them that they don't think about dying? All they think about is living. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't believe me, go to a assisted living facility, you know what I'm saying, and engage with a lot of the elderly. And you're going to see the difference in the conversations that are exchanged towards you. You know what I'm saying? And that you're going to absorb. And on the back end, you know what I'm saying, when you go over all the information that you received, you're going to be able to categorize them and know that not everyone falls in the same line and thinking of understanding death and eternal life. As soon as your habitual state changes from being out of the body and trapped in your mind to being in the body and present in the now, your physical body will feel lighter, clearer, more alive. That means no stress, no worries. You know what I'm saying? Those things are extremely more minimized. And they'll be labeled differently to where you don't identify them as problems or, oh, my worries. You know what I'm saying? Your whole attitude and identification with those specific feelings are going to be way different and minimized. As there is more consciousness in the body, its molecular structure actually becomes less dense, less stress, less worry. Then you become more clear in the connection of your body and your subconscious, the autopilot and the God in you. More consciousness means a lessening of the illusion of materiality. You don't even look at your body as old or aging. It's like I have all this gray or silver, whatever you want to call it, in my hair and my beard, but I don't feel old. Like, I feel wise. I feel more alive than I did at that confused and angry and destructive thought processing at the age of 24. Like at 52, I feel so internally more energetic than I did when I was 24. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going back to 1997, and we in 2025. When you become identified more with the timeless inner body than with the outer body, when your presence becomes your normal mode of consciousness and past and future no longer dominate your attention, excuse me, you do not accumulate time anymore in your psyche and in your cells of the body. You know what I'm saying? Your mind is so healed that it is going to slow down and heal the aging process in your cells. You know what I'm saying? They say that when you're stressed, like, your blood levels go up. Your blood becomes erratic. And that's just simple knowledge. You know what I'm saying? When you stressed out and your blood pressure goes up, and they say, meditate, try to keep your blood pressure down, and they'll give you relaxing techniques. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that blood pressure is self-induced by stress and worry and problems. But again, you can slow that down by changing your identification away from that abusive conscious that joker that's been abusing your autopilot self, and reconnect with your father, with your parent. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to genderize it. You know what I'm saying? So let's not use genders as, your father or mother. We're just going to say your mature self. That's what you need to be back in touch with. And that is what's going to help limit your aging process. The accumulation of time as the psychological burden of past and future greatly impairs the cell's capacity for self-renewal. So if you inhabit the inner body, the outer body will grow old at a much slower rate. And even when it does, your timeless essence will shine through the outer form, and you will not give the appearance of an old person. I hear enough people telling me all day, if I tell them I'm 51, they're like, nah, man, you have to be like 43. Like, they already take 8 years off, or they say you have to be in your late 30s. You know what I'm saying? And I get that a lot. And I know how old I am. You know what I'm saying? But the more that I am infused with this energetic emanation, the more it is acknowledged and notified. So let's move forward, because I might want to close this out and we still have more to go. Another benefit in the physical realm is a great strengthening of the immune system, which occurs when you inhabit the body. The more consciousness you bring into the body, the stronger the immune system becomes. It is as if every cell awakens and rejoices. The body loves your attention. It also is a potent form of self-healing. Most illness creep. Let's slow down. Most illness creep in when you are not present in the body. If the master is not present in the house, all kinds of shady characters will take up residence there. When you inhabit your body, it will be hard for unwanted guests to enter. And I'm going to shorten my ad-libs because I think we covered all of this, so we're just going to keep reading. It is not only your physical immune system that becomes strengthened, your psychic immune system is greatly enhanced as well. The latter protects you from the negative mental emotional force fields of others, which are highly contagious. Inhabiting the body protects you not by putting up a shield, but by raising the frequency vibration of your total energy field, so that anything that vibrates at a lower frequency, such as fear, anger, depression, and so on, now exists in what is virtually a different order of reality. They become minimized, they become submerged, because your emanation and your joy and your confidence holds prominence over the autopilot outer structure. It doesn't enter your field of consciousness anymore, all those minimizations. Or if it does, you don't need to offer any resistance to it because it passes right through you. You don't hold on to those problems too long. You're able to brush it off your shoulder in the famous song by Jay-Z. You got to brush that dirt off your shoulders. And that's what you'll be able to do at a quicker rate of awareness. Conscious breathing, which is a most powerful meditation, and I talk about this a lot, like constant deep breaths, as many as necessary, even in moments when you're not going through a situation. Like, practice breathing even when you're calm. You don't have to be frustrated. Do it as many times during your day as possible and recognized. Conscious breathing, which is a powerful meditation in its own right, will gradually put you in touch with the body. Follow the breath with your attention as it moves in and out of your body. Breathe into the body and feel your abdomen expanding and contracting slightly with each inhalation and exhalation. If you find it easy to visualize, close your eyes and see yourself surrounded by light or immersed in a luminous substance, a sea of consciousness. Then breathe in that light. Feel that luminous substance filling up your body and making it luminous also. This is embracing and morphing and becoming one with that deepest of mature, loving identification self. Then gradually focus more on the feeling. You are now in your body. Don't get attached to any visual image. Like, take a break from all that, superficial. Like, block that out. Just focus on the breathing and the life. Like, you don't even look at flowers, the grass, and that's why they say the best thing is to close your eyes so you can eliminate all of the visual and become one within yourself first. And then when you open your eyes into a calm and comfortable breath, post deepest of breath in the deepest of illuminated privacy. And then when you open your eyes, then you'll be able to have a deeper appreciation for all, at least all the simple things around you. And with enough practice and consistency, all of those problematic things around you, because those things are realistically just obstacles in order to maximize your stamina. Creative use of the mind. If you need to use your mind for a specific purpose, use it in conjunction with your inner body. Only if you are able to be conscious without thought can you use your mind creatively. And the easiest way to enter that state is through your body. Whenever an answer, a solution, or a creative idea is needed, stop thinking for a moment by focusing attention on your inner energy field. Become aware of the stillness. When you resume thinking, it will be fresh and creative. We could say, don't just think with your head, think with your whole body. Again, let's go over that specific statement. We could say, don't just think with your head, think with your whole body. Feel that full energy flow in your deepest of breath, making a circumference throughout your entire inner self. The art of listening, and this is our final sub topic in main chapter. When listening to another person, don't just listen with your mind, listen with your whole body. Feel the energy field of your inner body as you listen. Like, stop thinking about talking and reacting and just focus on shutting up and listening. That takes attention away from thinking and creates a still space that enables you to truly listen without the mind interfering. You are giving the other person space to be. And that's important because then that's a co-respect. You know what I'm saying? To be able to acknowledge the person's thought. It doesn't have to be valid, but to let them fully acknowledge that thought is a respected honor amongst servicing others with gratitude. Because you wouldn't want to be cut off or, minimized in the middle of conversation or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, listening and opening up to stillness and quietness is going to enhance your connection within yourself in relation to others. You are giving the other person space to be. It is the most precious gift you can give. Most people don't know how to listen because the major part of their attention is taken up by thinking. They pay more attention to that than to what the other person is saying, and none at all to what really matters, the being of the other person underneath the words and the mind. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a deep connection that this person is trying to identify with or to, and then they're expressing that in their verbal communication. Of course, you cannot feel someone else's being except through your own. And that's what they call compassion. It's deeper than sympathy. It's deeper than empathy. Compassion. This is the beginning of the realization of oneness, which is love. At the deepest level of being, you are one with all that is. Most human relationships consist mainly of minds interacting with each other, not of human beings communicating, right? Most people just exist amongst one another, and rather than master the art of communicating, and that is in open speaking as well as completely open listening, that's how the whole fracture and failure continues to be constantly I want to say lowly expressed. You know, I was trying to pick a specific reference without trying to be too over personal. No relationship can thrive in that way, and that is why there is so much conflict in relationships. When the mind is running your life, conflict, strife, and problems are inevitable. Being in touch with your inner body creates a clear space of no mind within which the relationship can flower. Instead of being so personal into your superficial desires and wants, because they're really not needs, they're just wants to try to emotionally massage or validate your dependent mind state due to the instability of your emotional connection and having an uncontrolled existence. Let me start to lead us into our next chapter, which is going to be portals into the unmanifested. And it's basically telling you of different ways of how to channel into the subconscious along with the primary beginning and master tool to connecting to that deepest of inner being and staying within the clearest of connection, because you don't want the static and interference. You know what I'm saying? That's going to lead you back into the rabbit hole of misery and darkness. You know what I'm saying? So really think about how deep you are or you are not, and how deep you know you need to go or have to be in order to begin the process of completing yourself. Because what we need to do is complete ourselves, as opposed to finding something else that could complete us when they are most likely incomplete themselves. If you only operating at 27% and they're operating at 13%, that's a total of 40%. But you said that person completes you. But they're not complete and you're not complete because you're not even at 50. And if you are at 50, who's to say that they're at their 50? Because if you're at 50 and they're at 22, that's still 72. And that's still not complete. So, the inner body. To end this, the inner body. The inner body is your connector to your flight to heaven, to use that analogy. You know what I'm saying? You are transferring from that wrong direction, and in this terminal of transition, we are leading you to the runway that is going to put you at the destination of heaven. You deserve it if you really want it. If you don't want it, then you're not going to get it, and you're going to continue to complain about what others that you see, have, and you neglectfully misinterpret why you don't have. This is your neighborhood Sensei Fouché, telling all y'all to stay woke and relax. Please relax and make sure you take notes, because I take plenty of them. And if you need to drop a note and let me know what I need to note and reintroduce myself into in constant connection, I will institute it along with what I'm currently following, which is all in interrelation to being in the present now. So now I say one.